You're listening to a story on the Valve Late channel. The following content is entirely fictional and a product of imagination and created for entertainment purposes only. Enjoy the story. After transmigrating into the body of an 18th-tier actress, a certified useless human being was thrown into a wilderness survival reality show. Tasked with being a background character to highlight the kindness and cuteness of the starlet Jang Ye, in front of the cameras, she acted all weak. "I'm just so useless. I can't do anything right. What's wrong with me?" I sneered. "Don't be sad. At least you're self-aware enough to know how pathetic you are. I transmigrated into this body after getting into a mountain climbing accident." The person I ended up in was an 18th-tier actress named Lindsay. Aside from her face, she had nothing going for her: bad acting, low emotional intelligence, a nasty temper, and so many scandals that even her agency didn't want to mention her name. Before I arrived, the original Lindsay had been given the task of being a prop to set off the company's favorite actress, Jang Ye. Compared to Jang Ye's innocent and pure look, Lin Zhao's seductive and sultry beauty was clearly more eye-catching. But because Jang Ye had strong backing in the company's executive board, the only one who could be sacrificed was Lindsay, who had no support at all. The moment the show's guest list was announced, netizens swarmed Lin Zhao's Weibo to attack her. "What the hell? That's scandal magnet again. I want a replacement aside from her face. What does she even have? She's totally gonna drag the whole team down, so shameless. Wherever Ye goes, she just tags along like a parasite." Public opinion was raging like a storm, but the filming schedule still went ahead as planned. The show had a total of 6 participants, 3 men and 3 women. Aside from the original host and Jang Ye, there was Best Actor Song Zinan, the wildly popular idol Du Han, singer Suyi duo, and professional track and field athlete Diane Kuo. On the first day of filming, everyone had to travel on their own to the meeting point before heading into the survival zone. The original Lindsay arrived in a private car, but unexpectedly, the car got into a minor collision and her head hit the dashboard. That was the moment I accidentally transmigrated into her body. When I opened my eyes, my head was still dizzy, but remembering the contract clause that required 10 times the compensation if I quit halfway, I forced myself to head to the filming location based on the memory I had just absorbed. When I arrived, only Juhan hadn't shown up yet. Everyone else was already there. Since this was a live-streamed show, the moment viewers saw me arrive late, the criticisms exploded. "See? First day, and she's already late. She's pulling the diva card again. What were the producers thinking inviting someone like her?" Well, clout from scandals is still clout. I guess that's how she got picked. Jang Ye was the first to speak, her voice as sweet as honey. "Lindsay, were you stuck in traffic? I should have come to pick you up. I left the house an hour ago, just in case. Nothing hurts like comparison. We're both on the same show, but she knows how to manage her time while I show up late, implying that I have a character flaw. My Yaya is so kind, always helping Lindsay out of tight spots, but seriously, Lin Zhao's face is still top tier." After hearing the green tea heroine make her statement, I just smirked, expressionless. "It wasn't traffic. There was a minor accident on the way, bumped my head a little, so I got delayed." Jang Ye froze for a moment. After all, the original Lindsay rarely ever explained herself. Whenever something happened, she'd scream and make a huge scene no matter what. But this time, I spoke calmly, and that made the other cast members all turn to look at me in surprise. Su Yiduo gasped, "Oh my god, are you okay? Why didn't you go to the hospital?" Song Zinan just glanced at me coldly, saying nothing. Diane Kuo stepped forward a bit, giving me a probing look. I lowered my eyes and gave a faint smile. "I'm fine." I didn't want to slow everyone down. Isn't this supposed to be the pure and sweet role who doesn't know how to act? That one sentence made everyone pause, because in their memory, Lindsay had never spoken so properly before. The livestream chat exploded. "What? She wasn't late. She got in an accident, TCH. Is Lindsay suddenly acting all responsible now? Not bad, actually. You guys up there got fooled. Who knows if she's telling the truth or not?" Right then, a netizen posted a photo of the accident scene. I just passed by that road. It was a traffic jam for ages, and turns out it was because of Lin Zhao's car. With the evidence laid out, the anti-fans went silent. Not long after, the rest of the guests arrived. Director Li Wei quickly introduced everyone to each other. Aside from Zhang Yiye, Song Zinan was also someone the original Lin Zi knew. The original host had been so obsessed with Song Zinan that she followed him everywhere, no matter where he went. But Song Zinan never had any interest in her. In fact, he clearly favored Zhang Yiye. I glanced at Song Zinan's cold as ice face. Sure, he's good looking, but he's definitely not my type. Speaking of which, the original Lin Zhao's bad reputation couldn't be mentioned without bringing up this guy. He kept saying he didn't like her, but had no problem accepting all the attention and care she gave him. His fans would jump on her every chance they got, yet he never once spoke up to defend her. What a piece of garbage hiding under the mask of an idol. Not long after, Juhan arrived. Even though the entertainment industry is overflowing with pretty faces, I was still a little surprised the moment Juhan stepped out of the car. That face, yeah, it really was top tier. Juhan only gave a slight nod to everyone and didn't say a single word. After that, the production crew took the cast to this episode's filming location. The bus wound through the roads for a while before finally stopping at a wild and desolate mountain region. The bus stopped at the base of the mountain, surrounded by dense trees with no signs of human life anywhere. As soon as we got off the bus, everyone began to survey the surroundings. It had to be said, the production team really went to great lengths to find such a remote mountainous area. It had just rained, the air was cool, and the mud-covered ground made walking extremely difficult. Zhang Yiye stomped hard on the ground and frowned. Do we really have to hike up there on foot? Before Director Li Wei could answer, Assistant Director He Lei cut in. Yes, everyone will be paired up with another person, and following the map provided by the show, you'll hike up on your own. The first pair to arrive gets to choose their lodging first. Song Zinan continued. So how will we decide the pairs? One man and one woman per team. Feel free to choose your own partner. As soon as the director finished speaking, the guests immediately began looking for teammates. Zhang Yiye shyly looked over at Song Zinan. Sensing her gaze, Song Zinan gave a slight smile. I'll team up with Yiye. Diane Kuo quickly stepped over to Suyi Duo with a big laugh. Yi Duo, let's team up. Suyi Duo glanced toward Juhan, looking slightly hesitant. But Juhan was still slowly walking at the back, showing no expression at all. Seeing that he had no opinion, Suyi Duo had no choice but to nod at Diane Kuo, so in the end, only Juhan and I were left. I stood still in place. Juhan's black tactical jacket made his fair skin look even more striking. Wearing sunglasses, he leisurely walked up beside me. Staying silent, I was the one who broke the silence. Looks like it's just the two of us now. Don't drag me down. We're definitely going to be first, Juhan joked with a grin. Hearing how confident he sounded, I looked up to take a good look at him. Truly worthy of the title nation's top male idol, perfect features, paired with a youthful and radiant aura like the sun at the beginning of summer, it was hard to take your eyes off him. I chuckled inwardly and casually played along. Then, I'll be counting on you later. The final pairings turned out to be Zhang Yiye with Song Zinan and Suyi Duo with Diane Kuo. Netizens once again exploded in the comments section. Huh, that troublemaker Lin didn't latch onto Song Zinan like usual? Shocking, stay away from my baby. Why pair her with Juhan? Song Zinan and my Yiye look way too good standing together. Nani couple, locked in, sealed deal. Honestly though, Juhan and Lindsay actually look pretty good together too. After the teams were set, Zhang Yiye walked over to me, her expression looking like she wanted to say something but was holding back. I frowned at her, waiting to see what new trick she had up her sleeve. Zhang Yiye hesitated before finally speaking. Lindsay, I got paired with brother Zinan. You're not mad at me, right? 3 big question marks instantly popped up in my head. Before I could even respond, Song Zinan stepped in front of Zhang Yiye and frowned as he spoke to me. Lindsay, this has nothing to do with you, yeah. If you're upset, take it out on me. Looking at his righteous expression, I couldn't help but clap my hands 3 times, loud and clear. A pair of male and female leads straight out of a cheap romance novel truly deserving of your title as movie king. Joo-han, standing next to me, suddenly let out a snort of laughter. Song Zinan's face turned red with anger. Lindsay, what kind of attitude is that? However you are, that's the attitude I'll give you. After I said that, I didn't bother sparing the two of them another glance. I turned to Joo-han and said, "Let's go," then spun on my heel and started climbing the mountain. My reaction clearly intrigued Joo-han, who quickly caught up with me, laughing. "Lindsay, you're not quite like how people describe you online, and what do they say about me online?" Joo-han looked a bit awkward, gave a dry cough, and scratched his nose. "Nothing." As I walked, I muttered, "Maybe what others see is just what someone wants them to see." Hearing that, Joo-han fell silent. There were many paths up the mountain. The production team had already given us maps. After some discussion, Joo-han and I decided to take a slightly more difficult route. Joo-han seemed to work out often. His stamina was excellent. The trail was narrow, with dense plants and grass on both sides. The scent of soil mixed with the faint green smell of grass filled the air. The deeper we went into the mountain, the steeper the path became, and Joo-han's pace began to slow. I pulled out a trekking pole, the kind you can extend and retract from my backpack. Joo-han looked surprised. "You came prepared. It's a survival show. After all, what's the point of coming unprepared, just to be a decorative vase?" Not that I could admit, I just happened to buy it on my way here. Meanwhile, over on Jang Ye's side, she was really playing the role of a helpless woman. Song Zinan looked a bit awkward when he saw what she was wearing. Jang Ye had on a short dress that barely reached her knees, clearly to show off her long legs as one of her best assets. She even had a giant backpack slung over her shoulder. Trying to play the gentleman, Song Zinan offered to carry it for her. Adding that to his own luggage, he was climbing the mountain slowly and with great effort, constantly needing to check back on her. "Brother Zinan, am I troubling you?" Jang Ye's soft, kitten-like voice rang out. "Girls don't have as much stamina as guys." "Don't worry about it," Song Zinan replied, wiping away his sweat, trying to reassure her. Jang Ye immediately gave him a sweet smile. Brother Zinan is really kind. Online, netizens also rushed to defend Jang Ye. She's a girl, it's normal for her to have less stamina. The fact that she's trying so hard is already commendable. It's just a variety show, not the Olympics. No need to push yourself that hard. The Nanya couple is way too sweet. Can someone please officiate their wedding right here and now? After climbing a while longer, Joo-han and I took a short break before continuing up the mountain. I picked up my pace. At first, he slowed down to wait for me. But when he saw I was moving pretty fast, Joo-han immediately matched my speed. I don't even know when it happened, but the two of us had turned the hike into a competitive mountain climbing race. Didn't expect Lindsay to have such good stamina. Thought Lindsay would just drag her teammate down. When she pulled out that hiking pole, Joo-han's face literally froze. You could overlay it with "Darlin', hold my hand and it'd be perfect." I thought she'd cling to my idol, but nope, she's got her own pace, neat and tidy. What's going on? Are these two racing up the mountain now? God, they're such a divine duo. I need a ticket to team up with them. After about 40 minutes of climbing, Joo-han and I finally reached the summit. Joo-han was out of breath. "Lindsay, your stamina is really impressive." I quickly worked to steady my breathing. "You're not bad either." The production team had been waiting at the top. As soon as they saw us, they announced, "Congratulations, you two are the first team to arrive. You get the privilege of choosing your accommodation first." The show had prepared 3 houses. The first one, a brick house, was the most complete, with 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and a kitchen. The second one, a mud house with a makeshift wooden door, was old and shabby. The third one, made of straw and dirt, had a natural ventilation window and no front door, just a torn curtain hanging down. Without thinking too much, Juhan and I immediately picked the first house, each of us carrying our luggage inside to settle in. To increase the realism of the show, all guests' phones were confiscated, and each person was only allowed to bring one small backpack with no food permitted. After a midday nap, I felt much more refreshed. As I stepped outside, the other teams also began arriving one by one. Juhan, who had been woken up, came out with his hands in his pockets. Su Yi Duo and Diane Kuo were the second team to arrive tired, but still in decent shape. The team of Zhang Ye and Song Zinan, though, was a complete disaster. Song Zinan's hair was a mess, his once pristine white outfit now covered in mud. Next to his feet were two backpacks, clearly both his and Zhang Ye's. Zhang Ye, who had put on heavy makeup before setting off, now had white patches of cakey foundation, her makeup completely cracked. Her legs were scratched from branches, thanks to her ultra-short skirt, and she kept whining in pain. Su Yiduo walked over to comfort her. Zhang Ye, are you okay? What happened to you? I have low stamina. I nearly fell so many times, thank goodness for Zinan. The staff stepped in to treat Zhang Ye's wound, and she staggered over to stand next to me. Lindsay, you're amazing. Not like me. I got hurt just from climbing a mountain. I looked at her wound, then replied calmly, oh, I thought by the time you got here, it would have healed on its own already. Zhang Ye was left speechless. Song Zinan immediately stepped forward, looking annoyed. Lindsay, why do you have to speak so harshly? I tilted my head and looked at him with innocent eyes. What exactly did I say wrong? That simple question left Song Zinan choking on his words, frozen in place with nothing to say. Zhang Ye gently tugged his arm, whispering sweetly, Lindsay, don't be mad at me for pairing up with Zinan. It was my fault. I crossed my arms and shrugged. I'm not mad at all. I just hope the two of you can stay a little farther away from me. After all, I'm known for saying harsh things without thinking. If I accidentally hurt someone innocent, that'd be tragic. Lindsay, the director's calling everyone to gather. Juhan walked over and called to me. I was just about to lift my foot to follow him when he turned to Zhang Ye and casually said, oh right, it's just a surface wound. Why are you still limping? His comment made me burst out laughing for a moment. As he walked ahead, he tilted his head toward me and asked, was it that funny? I replied with admiration, you're seriously amazing. The moment he heard that, Juhan's face turned bright red, all the way to the tips of his ears. I didn't tease him any further, just smiled faintly and kept walking. After gathering all the guests, the production team began assigning rooms. Juhan and I got the first brick house. Su Yi Duo and Diane Kuo were placed in a second, an old clay house. Zhang Ye and Song Zinan ended up with the third, the tattered straw hut with no real door. When they saw the wind-whistling shack, both of their expressions changed instantly. Zhang Ye sneezed twice in a row and spoke in a pitiful tone, Zinan, it's not that I don't want to stay here, but I'm allergic to dust. Song Zinan immediately pulled out tissues, his face full of concern. An allergy is serious. It could be dangerous if we're not careful. Zhang Ye gave him a dreamy glance. If only we could switch rooms, that'd be great. She said it softly, as if it just slipped out by accident. I had no interest in watching that cheap performance and was about to head back to the room to rest. Who would have thought Song Zinan would suddenly call out to me? Lindsay, Yuya is allergic and can't stay in that room. Switch with her. I was stunned. I didn't expect someone to be this shameless. Sorry, I can't switch. You seriously have no compassion at all. Are you going to wait until Yaya has a severe allergic reaction before you'll agree? Instantly, the antis in the live stream started bashing me. What a snob. Zhang Ye's allergy is that serious, and she still won't give up the room. What if it gets worse? Lindsay won't be satisfied until someone dies. Huh? It's just a room. Why be so stubborn? But a few rational voices spoke up. Why doesn't Yaya ask someone else? Why does it have to be Lindsay? If she doesn't want to switch, don't force her. Z is right. I tilted my head with a look of sincere confusion. If she has an allergy and can't stay there, she should talk to the production team. What's it got to do with me? Also, if she has a severe allergic reaction, why would I be the one responsible? Mr. Movie Star, so now you're trying to guilt trip me with morality? This is a survival show. If her allergy is that bad, why didn't she report it beforehand? And if someone has to switch rooms, why me? Am I some public trash bin anyone can just dump their problem into? Song Zinan's face turned red with frustration. Lindsay, you really disappoint me. I shrug. What I think has nothing to do with your expectations. Fine, you said it yourself. He snorted coldly and turned to walk away. Wait, why is Lindsay kinda badass right now? When the actor guy said that, it low-key scared me. This is true moral blackmail. Lin Zhao's so damn cool. I'm switching sides. Queen, please let me be your fan. The director, known for being strict, heard the whole allergy story and simply threw out two options, either withdraw from the show or stay in the room originally assigned. If she withdrew now, Zhang Ye's sweet and saintly image would be completely ruined. So, in the end, she had no choice but to obediently accept the room. On the first night, the show provided everyone with a survival-themed banquet. The food was surprisingly abundant, honestly more luxurious than what most people eat on a regular day. After the meal, the director announced the next task. Today, the production team will supply ingredients just this once. All guests must cook enough food for the remaining days. No more ingredients will be provided afterward. As soon as the announcement ended, all the guests looked like they were about to cry. Normally, they were pampered celebrities who never had to lift a finger in the kitchen. In less than a moment, all the ingredients were brought into the temporary kitchen the crew had set up. I glanced over the cooking materials. They were fairly complete. Pairings were the same as before. Juhan scratched his head and asked me, "Can you cook? So, just enough to survive." Then have you heard of braised beef noodles with sriracha? I squinted at him. You mean instant noodles, right? Just say it straight. The countdown began. I picked up a chunk of beef and started slicing it into long strips. This was a survival show. Preserving food was a priority. I planned to make air-dried beef jerky. After demonstrating a few slices for Juhan, I handed over the knife to him. Then, I took out unsalted butter, low-gluten flour, sugar, and eggs to bake cookies in a mini-oven. On the other side, Su Yi Duo and Diane Kuo were fumbling around making crispy rice. It looked decent. In contrast, chaos reigned on Song Zinan and Zhang Ye's side. Song Zinan didn't know how to cook, and Zhang Ye, trying to show off her domestic skills, insisted on taking over. She threw 2 whole tomatoes into a pot and poured beaten eggs over them. I almost burst out laughing. Was she trying to make scrambled eggs with tomato? Within minutes, smoke started rising from the pot. It got thicker and thicker until Song Zinan panicked and ran off to get water. Seeing how dangerous it was getting, I quickly walked over, lifted the pot lid, and the flames were extinguished immediately. Juhan followed behind and clapped. Quick reflexes. You're really something. Song Zinan gave me a long look before turning back to comfort Zhang Ye. She smoothed her hair and pretended to be weak. Lindsay, how did you know covering the pot would put out the fire? I looked up and answered seriously. When a pot catches fire, putting a lid on it is basic knowledge. Both Song Zinan and Zhang Ye fell silent. Lindsay is so badass. Zhang Ye asking that question was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Doesn't even know the basics, but wants to cook. Just look at that failed scrambled egg dish and you'll understand. The internet erupted, but the guests didn't know a thing. No one was allowed to keep their phones. The small incident passed, and everyone returned to cooking. I seasoned the sliced beef with spices, borrowed a few fans from the production team, laid the meat out on a table, and turned the fans on to dry it. Normally, sun-dried beef jerky is best, but we were short on time and had to make do. I used a similar method to prepare dried steak and dried seafood, shrimp, squid, and more. I hung everything up using as hooks for easy removal later. Wait, Lindsay knows how to do this too? She's kinda impressive. Actually, can someone ask if this stuff is even edible? My family runs a jerky business. Lin Zhao's method is legit. Slowly, more and more people began to see me in a new light. Maybe I was quietly building up a few fans. A while later, the mini oven dinged. The smell of butter and sweetness filled the kitchen. Suyi Duo came running over, beaming. Lindsay, your cookies smell amazing. Let's trade some crispy rice for a few cookies, yeah? I glanced at the director, seeing no objections from him. I shrugged. Sure, I said, generously packing some cookies into a paper bag and handing them to Suyi Duo. She also brought over a big bag of crispy rice crackers to me. After all, just cookies and beef jerky alone were a bit monotonous. Having rice crackers to go with them would offer some variety. On the other side, ever since the burning pot was put out, Zhang Yeye and Song Zinan hadn't touched the kitchen again. Maybe they had another way to survive? There was still time, so I took the dough I had prepared earlier, rolled it into oval-shaped pieces, and grilled them one by one on the electric pan. By the time the sun began to set, the director announced that there was only 1 hour left. At that point, Juhan and I had dealt with nearly all the ingredients. Only a few scraps remained. I asked the production team for some vacuum seal bags and got ready to pack everything up. Head chefs had a tough day, Juhan said with a smile. His forehead was beaded with sweat, his t-shirt stained with oil, but his eyes were glowing. As for the leftover bits, he took the initiative to handle them. I teased him, then I'll leave it to my sous chef Ju. After that, I went into the bathroom to wash my face and fix my hair. When I stepped outside, I found Zhang Yeye waiting in a spot out of the camera's view. Her voice no longer carried that fake sweetness. Lindsay, you guys cooked so much. Can't you share some with us? I calmly rubbed my wrist, and why would I? Zinan, and I don't know how to cook. Are you really going to watch us starve? Yeah, what's that got to do with me? Zhang Yeye's expression began to change. Don't forget the reason the company let you join this program was to be my background prop. If you keep trying to steal the spotlight like this, are you trying to go against me? Oh, I didn't know that. Besides, you and the company hiring tabloids to smear me online isn't exactly new. Good, since you're aware, here's the deal. If you share some food, I'll tell the company to let you appear on the dating show 3 Days of Heartbeat. I chuckled and shook my head. Zhang Yeye, your garbage favors, I don't want them, and I'm not interested. Please stay away from me, or I can't promise I won't do something you'll regret. So you're really set on making trouble with me, huh? I brushed her hand aside and gave a faint smile. Don't you understand human language? After I said that, I ignored the look on Zhang Yeye's face, which was as dark as a tire, and turned around and walked off. By the time I got back to the kitchen, the time was up. The production team collected all the remaining ingredients, not even leaving a single leaf behind. Juhan was sitting down checking the food we had prepared. We divided everything into portions. Starting tonight, there would be no more meals provided. Since no one was that hungry yet, everyone just snacked a little and went back to their rooms to rest. On the morning of day 3, all the guests woke up very early. I changed into a black outdoor jacket made for hiking, already prepared for any physical activity ahead. Juhan also wore the same jacket he had on the first day, so at a glance, we looked like we were wearing matching outfits. After a light breakfast of cookies and beef jerky, we left our room and saw that everyone else had already gathered. Zhang Yeye and Song Zinan looked pale, probably from a sleepless night. All eyes turned toward Juhan and me, particularly at our unintentionally matching outfits. Song Zinan, who already had a dark expression, looked even gloomier. Lindsay, you made a lot of food yesterday. Could you give Yeye a little? I won't eat, but she's a girl. If she doesn't eat, she won't be able to handle it. I turned my head, the corners of my lips curling. Film Emperor Song, did you forget again? If there's a problem, you should talk to the director. Why are you coming to me? I gave him a cold smile and looked him straight in the eye. Are you really going to go there? His eyes looked like he was pressuring me to agree, but I just shrugged, rolled my eyes, and said calmly, too bad, I don't have any morals, so don't bother forcing it. Zhang Yi quickly spoke up, her voice soft like she was about to faint. Don't be mad at Lindsay because of me, I'm fine. Juhan put his sunglasses back on and strolled over to my side, glanced at Zhang Yi, then said slowly, you don't look like someone who just skipped one meal, you look like someone who hasn't eaten in 3 days. I really couldn't hold in my laughter, I just barely managed to stifle it. Zhang Yi immediately stood up straighter and mumbled, sorry, I have low blood sugar. Worried she might actually pass out, the production team quickly gave her some sugar tablets. Online, netizens were exploding over her professional-grade fainting act. Seriously, Zhang Yi can't do anything, and every little thing gives her low blood sugar. What's she even doing on a survival show? As a fan of Ye, even I can't watch anymore. She's really dragging the team down. Too bad I don't have morals, so don't bother forcing it. I swear, I'm getting that tattooed on my armpit. I finally understand how to deal with fake moral high ground. Now vote for Lindsay. I was just a casual viewer, but Lindsay made me laugh so hard. No pretense, no fakeness, I'm obsessed now. The production team quickly announced the next task, finding food. The guests had to help local villagers harvest fruit. The group that picked the most would get a 2-hour break in the afternoon and a $13,000 charity scholarship fund to donate. This survival show was famous not only for its engaging concept, but also for its integration of public service missions, which gave it both a good image and great publicity. That's exactly why Zhang Yi clung so persistently to the show. Despite having zero useful skills, she still got exposure and could maintain her wholesome reputation. Once we received the map, everyone set off at once. Juhan and I took the lead. Su Yi Duo and Diane Kuo went a different way. Zhang Yi and Song Zinan, of course, were tailing right behind us. I turned to look. Why are you following us? Did you get lost or something? Zhang Yi looked flustered. No, can't we just be on the same path? Sure, you can, I replied. But I'm going to look for a spot to pee, and it's really inconvenient having someone tailing me. Juhan cut in, voice dripping with sarcasm. You sure this is the right way? Or are you just following us so if anything happens, someone can rescue you? Zhang Yi's face turned red instantly, her lips twitching. Song Zinan let out a scornful chuckle, then pulled her along like he was in a huff. Juhan and I exchanged a glance and decided to switch routes, taking a shortcut through a low hill. After a bit of navigating, we were the first team to reach the orchard. We borrowed baskets and a small cart from the villagers, then split up the work. Juhan picked the fruit while I handled packing. Before long, the other two teams showed up one by one. Seeing how efficient our method was, they quickly copied us. While everyone was busy working, Zhang Yi still made sure to act in front of the camera, flipping her hair, tilting her head for that soft, gentle profile angle, completely ignoring the fact that Song Zinan was clinging to a tree branch, face red as a tomato from all the climbing. When he finally got down and looked into the almost empty basket of fruit that Zhang Yi had picked, he couldn't keep up the calm expression anymore. That's all you've managed to pick this whole time? Zhang Yi instantly switched tones and played the pitiful card. I'm sorry, Zinan, I'm just so useless. Seeing that, Song Zinan sighed deeply and comforted her. It's okay, we'll just take our time. Meanwhile, Juhan and I were moving swiftly, picking and packing in perfect rhythm. Su Yi Duo and Diane Kuo weren't slacking either. Their teamwork was seamless. I soon realized that transportation was actually the most time-consuming part of the process. If this kept up, it would clearly become a problem. So I turned around, found an old farmer nearby, and had a quick chat. Less than 10 minutes later, I drove back in a small village truck, pulling off a badass drift right into the clearing. Juhan burst out laughing. Lindsay, you're seriously a genius. You even know how to drive a truck. Boss has a license, I said coolly. Hop in, boss is driving today. I made an exaggerated heart shape with my hands and held it out toward him. Juhan froze for a second, then his face turned bright red like a cooked shrimp. With the truck, our team was basically hacking the system. By the end of the half-day session, the production team announced the results. Juhan and I had taken the lead by a landslide. Who said Lindsay didn't know how to do anything? She can even drive a truck. What can't she do at this point? That's it. I'm switching sides. From now on, I'm a die-hard fan of our goddess Lin. One hand driving, one hand working. Perfect sync with Juhan. This camera angle is stunning. Screenshot taken. Our team's winning, no doubt. Not only did we win the $13,000 charity fund, we also got the luxury of taking the afternoon off. For lunch, Juhan and I ate our homemade dried shrimp with rice crackers. Simple but delicious. Su Yi Duo and Diane Kuo traded some rice crackers for a few of our baked goods, so their meal turned out fine too. That's when the director brought Zhang Yiya and Song Zinan over to us. Team 3 has run out of food, the director explained. They're willing to help out with some of your tasks in exchange for a meal. What do you think? Juhan looked at me, letting me decide. I thought for a moment, then said, sure. Earlier I noticed a few wild apple trees near the orchard. Just pick one basket full, that should be fair. Zhang Yiya immediately nodded. Though Song Zinan looked annoyed, he nodded along too. After that, I gave them just enough food for one meal, no more. No less. By midday, the sun was blazing hot. I put on my hat, adjusted my jacket, and headed outside with Juhan. The mountain air was surprisingly cool and refreshing. We didn't walk fast, we strolled and chatted along the way. When we reached a large tree, I suddenly noticed some mushrooms growing nearby. Mushrooms, I pointed. Juhan looked alarmed. You can't just eat random mushrooms. What if they're poisonous? I calmly replied, relax, these aren't toxic. I used to live in the mountains with my grandma when I was little. I know these types well. Juhan didn't argue, he just silently helped me gather the mushrooms. Wow, Miss Lin really knows her stuff. All the mushrooms she picked were edible. She even stopped Juhan from touching the poisonous ones nearby. That's impressive. After finishing with the mushrooms, I also gathered a bundle of wild greens. Dinner, it seemed, was no longer a concern. Carrying our full bag of goodies, Juhan and I strolled leisurely back to camp. By the time we returned, the other two teams had also just gotten back. My hands were full of wild greens and mushrooms when Diane Kuo shouted, "You two are like guardian angels." Took a walk and still came back with food. I'm officially asking to be your disciple. Su Yi Duo also looked at me with hopeful eyes. I smiled at them. We just happened to find some stuff. Since we're already back, let's cook something nice for dinner tonight. I headed into the small kitchen and used the mushrooms and wild greens to make a big pot of soup. Paired with baked flatbread and crispy rice crackers, it was so delicious it felt like my tongue could fall off. Juhan and Diane Kuo both asked for extra servings, and even Song Zinan had 3 full bowls. These wild mushrooms are unbelievably fresh. Lindsay is still the best. Chef Lin, can I be your disciple? I'll do whatever you say. Just accept me. Seeing Su Yi Duo and Diane Kuo joking around like that, I couldn't help but laugh. No problem at all. Zhang Yiya, meanwhile, was staring at the soup pot like she was deep in thought, probably scheming something again. That night, everyone was exhausted and went to bed early. I was just about to get under the blanket when I suddenly heard a loud commotion outside. I stepped out the door and saw Juhan already standing on the porch. We exchanged looks and headed out together. At that moment, Zhang Yiya was pale as a ghost, clutching her stomach and moaning, it hurts so bad. Song Zinan was holding her in his arms while the director and production staff gathered around. The show's on-site doctor dug out his stethoscope and checked her thoroughly, but couldn't find anything unusual. It might be stomach pain from eating something bad. Zhang Yiya whimpered weakly, but I didn't even eat much tonight. Could it be from the mushrooms? The moment she finished speaking, Song Zinan turned and shot me a warning look, and some of the crew also gave me suggestive glances. I'm sure Lindsay didn't do it on purpose. Don't blame her. Zhang Yiya still tried to act like a sweet, innocent victim. Song Zinan turned to me and said coldly, Lindsay, what exactly are you trying to compete for? Are you only satisfied when Yuya ends up like this? The live stream was still on, and my anti-fans finally got their chance to attack. I told you Lindsay was the type to show off and end up hurting someone. Get off the show, you garbage. Fortunately, some of the fans I'd won over recently started speaking up. You don't even know the full story, and you're already accusing someone? This is weird. Everyone ate the same thing, but only Zhang Yeye got sick? That's not how mushroom poisoning works. I'm from Yunnan, and I've never seen someone poisoned still have the energy to act emotional. Hearing Song Zinan's accusation, I crossed my arms and smirked coldly, poisoned by mushrooms? So you're saying the symptoms are crying, screaming, and throwing a tantrum? That's hilarious. We all ate the same soup tonight, and only she got sick? Must be some super selective poison. If you think it was the mushrooms, then prove it. I already had the assistant producer call for an ambulance. Let's go to the hospital and get tested. Oh, and the mushrooms I picked, they're still here. Let's send them for testing too. Song Zinan started hesitating, and Zhang Yeye's face turned ghostly pale. I think maybe it's not that bad anymore. I narrowed my eyes. No way, I need to clear my name. Don't you agree, Miss Zhang? I tilted my head slightly, half smiling as I stared her down. Zhang Yeye quickly said, right, I just remembered I might have eaten a wild fruit after going back to the room. Maybe it wasn't clean. I'm feeling better now. I'll call off the ambulance. I put on a regretful look. Oh, by the way, Miss Zhang, your makeup is falling apart. Everyone looked where I pointed and saw a huge smear of white powder on Song Zinan's shirt. No one said anything, but everyone understood exactly what had happened. The director's face darkened. After all, this whole mess was just a ridiculous drama created between the guests. Honestly, who has the patience for this kind of fake drama? Within minutes, Zhang Yeye's name shot to the top of trending searches, putting her right on the hot seat. So it turns out the whole act last night was a setup to frame me. She brought this on herself. Did Zhang Yeye actually star in real films with that kind of cheap acting? God, people like her are honestly terrifying. Lindsay cooked soup for the whole group and still got stabbed in the back. Unbelievable. The internet couldn't stop laughing. Haha, she even had makeup all over her face. Lin Zhao's a literal angel. Zhang Yeye's agency, realizing the scandal, rushed to prepare a public statement. But public opinion had already completely turned against her. Without a phone, she still had no idea she'd just blown up the entire internet. On the morning of day 4, the director handed out a new mission, catching fish in the nearby river. The team that caught the most fish would win. The only tool allowed was a trident provided by the show. Everyone looked at each other. Who even knows how to use that? Juhan glanced at me for guidance. I winked at him. He responded with a dazzling grin, bright as gold. The two of us, in water gear provided by the crew, headed off first. Diane Kuo shouted from behind, Big Sislin, wait up for us. This time, the destination was easy to find. Juhan quietly observed my movements. When a fish swam near, pausing cluelessly in place, I adjusted the angle of the trident, waited until it was within 3 to 5 centimeters, then struck. Juhan studied my technique. He was clumsy at first, but after a few tries, he started catching fish too. Seeing us succeed, Sui Duo and Diane Kuo also gave it a shot. Meanwhile, Song Zinan kept experimenting with different ways to use the trident, while Zhang Yeye just sat slumped by the riverbank like a broken doll. Something was definitely off between those two. By the end of the round, our team took first place once again, earning another $13,000 in charity funds. The showrunners were actually decent this time, leaving us to fish for our next meal. Everyone was tired, so we just had a few bites and rested. That afternoon's task was weeding, a simple chore that didn't require any skill, so everyone gave it their all. Except for Zhang Yeye. As usual, that evening, I wanted to cook something nicer for the group. With permission, I made Westlake sweet and sour fish and reheated a pot of fish soup. The night sky was clear, stars scattered across the heavens. We lit a bonfire and sat around it in a circle. Even the film crew got into the mood, handing out a few cans of beer. No one knows who started it, but we ended up playing the classic game Truth or Dare. It always worked, no matter how many times you played it. First round, the bottle pointed at me. Everyone stared, eagerly waiting. I chose Dare. Jong Yuya flashed a sugar-sweet smile. Lindsay, how about dancing for everyone? Everyone knew I was a terrible singer and dancer. She clearly picked this dare to set me up. Jo-han's expression instantly turned cold. Even Song Zinan looked at her with visible distaste. Jang Yuya pretended not to notice, casting a sly glance at the livestream camera. What's wrong, Lindsay? Afraid? I let out a laugh and smirked. You think I'm as timid as you? I stood up, took off my jacket, and walked over to the audio technician to whisper a few words. The intro music started playing. It was a classical style piece. The group only realized then I had chosen a traditional Chinese dance. Bathed in moonlight, I began to move, every motion smooth and graceful, my silhouette burning bright like fire in the night. Few knew I had trained in classical dance for over 10 years. For me, dancing was as natural as breathing. As the music ended, I bowed with poise. Applause erupted like thunder. Song Zinan stared at me, stunned, his eyes showing something he couldn't put into words. Jo-han's gaze was so fiery it made me look away. This time, Jang Yuya had completely lost face. She blurted out, I thought you didn't know how to dance. I tilted my head and smiled at her, watching her expression twist from shock to something downright ugly. That single performance officially made me stand out among the guests. The internet exploded. I'm in love. Lin Big Sis is my goddess forever. Long live Lin Big Sis. Lindsay is clearly a 10 out of 10 multi-talent. Who said she was useless? Where's the trash media that slandered her? Let's talk. Lin Big Sis is my wife. Everyone else, scram. That dance was undeniable proof of my capabilities. The 5th day was also the final day of filming. And today's challenge was the most important one. The show had prepared 3 mission cards. Each one led to a different location, where a hidden gem was to be retrieved for charity. The rules: draw lots to pick a card. Jo-han and I drew the card for a cave up in the mountains. The other teams got a wooden cabin and a dense forest. When Jang Yuya saw our result, she gave a smug little smile. I returned to my room to pack. Jang Yuya passed by, her voice sickeningly sweet. Good luck, Lindsay. Looking at that fake smile, I had a very bad feeling. Our team departed last. The path to the cave was deep and rough. It took almost an hour just to find the entrance. The ground was slippery, covered in moss, and the inside was pitch black. Jo-han led the way while I held a flashlight. About 300 meters in, we turned into a narrow passage filled with jagged rocks and pools of stagnant water, dangerously slick. Eventually, we spotted an ornate wooden box placed on a high stone step. Jo-han turned to me. Wait here, I'll go get it. I stayed still, but unease bubbled inside me. The camera followed Jo-han closely. As he reached out to the box, whoosh, a black shadow flashed past. A snake. The box dropped. Blood immediately welled from to puncture wounds on Jo-han's hand. It all happened too fast. Even the cameraman froze. I reacted instantly, pulling a small knife from my bag and stabbing the snake. It died on the spot. I rushed to Jo-han. That snake was venomous. I told him to sit still and not move. The cameraman had already called for an ambulance. I told him to wrap the dead snake in his shirt so it could be tested at the hospital. I quickly loosened Jo-han's shirt sleeve to avoid pressure on the wound, then elevated his arm to slow the blood flow and reduce the spread of venom. Another cameraman ran over, about to try sucking out the poison. I stopped him immediately. That trick from the movies, sucking venom with your mouth, can actually damage the tissue and speed up the spread of the toxin. The best thing we can do now is wait for the ambulance. The ambulance arrived quickly. Before leaving, I picked up the box containing the gem. Online, the comments exploded. That was a venomous snake. What kind of garbage show lets something like this happen? If anything happens to my baby Johan, I'll raise hell. Lindsay handled that like a pro. Wait, sucking venom with your mouth is wrong? Movies lied to us. I studied first aid for snake bites. Everything Lindsay did was textbook. Thank you, Lindsay, for saving our baby. From now on, anyone who bashes her is my enemy. Johan turned out to be okay. The doctor said the swift treatment made all the difference. Otherwise, the outcome could have been tragic. With such a serious incident, the show had no choice but to suspend filming. All guests were sent back to rest. I finally checked my phone and caught up on the wave of comments. But something about this snake bite didn't sit right with me. Normally, the crew would inspect each mission site thoroughly. How did a venomous snake slip through? I suddenly remembered Jang Ye's sly little smile before we left. Everything became clear when Johan woke up. I visited him. I've been waiting for you, he said gently. Does it still hurt? If it's you touching it, then no, I froze. When I looked up, his deep eyes locked onto mine. My ears flushed red. I quickly changed the topic. Seriously though, this isn't just an accident, Johan nodded. I know, I've already contacted my lawyer. Someone will pay for what they did. I handed the gem box to his lawyer. When the time was right, it would be a fatal blow. After the show, I became fully famous. Big and small projects flooded in like snow. Movie and TV directors personally reached out with scripts. Before I could even sort through them, my old company and manager called. Lindsay, you were supposed to be on the show to make Jang Ye look good. Why do you keep trying to steal the spotlight? Fine, I won't argue. Now that you're famous, we'll take over managing your career. And remember, wherever you go, take Ye with you. I chuckled softly. You people must be dreaming. Fine, fine. Tough girl. Huh. Just you wait. We'll ruin you. Old scandals and unflattering photos of me suddenly flooded the internet. Rumors spread like wildfire. Claims that I once chased after Song Zinan, that I had a terrible temper, that I had no real talent. It all came crashing down like a tidal wave, but the public wasn't stupid. Aside from a handful of anti-fans and paid trolls, most netizens stood firmly by my side. In the middle of this scandal storm, Jang Ye suddenly reappeared with heavily edited photos, of course, and once again, her name was deliberately placed right next to mine in misleading articles. The narrative kept spiraling out of control until I decided to put an end to it. I publicly released the voice recording of Jang Ye from during filming, along with another clip of my former manager threatening me. Netizens quickly began digging through her behavior on the show, connecting the dots. What the hell is this? She's totally fake. Now that I look back, her acting was so forced. How is someone like this even allowed to be a public figure? She threatened Lindsay, so Jang Ye was this arrogant because she had someone backing her. Even Song Zinan, who had been silent the entire time, suddenly shared my post and added, Lindsay is an incredibly capable person. I hope everyone stops making baseless assumptions, and then Johan dropped the final hammer. The snakebite incident on the show was not an accident. Someone planned it. Jang Ye contacted the company and bribed a production assistant to place a venomous snake inside the gem box. Everything was arranged so that Lindsay and I would draw the mission card leading us to that cave. The fingerprints on the box matched that assistant's, and he has confessed. Jang Ye is currently being detained for investigation. The entire internet exploded. This was no longer just a scandal, it had become a criminal case. Netizens went digging and uncovered Jang Ye's long-term illicit relationship with the high-ranking executive in her company. I officially terminated my contract with my former agency, the new company I signed with. It was Johan's. They assigned me a top-tier manager and a personal assistant. I tilted my head and looked at Johan. You arranged all this, didn't you? He smiled, his eyes bright and burning with warmth. Yes, because from the very first moment I saw you, I fell for you. Lindsay, will you let me pursue you? My face turned red, and I couldn't bring myself to meet his sincere gaze. All right. But whether you succeed or not depends on your performance. Johan gently kissed the back of my hand, his smile glowing like the morning sun. I promise, I won't let you down. And once again, all content in this video is entirely fictional. Please do not take it too seriously or consider it real. And that wraps up today's storytime video. Volf thanks you all so much for supporting this content. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more storytelling videos from Volf. See you next time.